Well, the environment for Pakistan-India relations remains very tense and fraught. And this is, of course, reflected to some extent in the kind of wild and inaccurate speculation in the Indian media that somehow Pakistan had asked for a bilateral meeting between our foreign minister and the Indian foreign minister. Our foreign ministry has denied that flatly. So has the foreign minister. We did not seek any bilateral meeting with the Indians. But as you know, relations between the two countries have been very tense for years now. The dialogue has been suspended for almost 4 years plus. And since August 2019, when India illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, diplomatic ties were further downgraded and, of course, trade totally suspended. So the two countries have a diplomatic deadlock and an impasse that remains unbroken. So this is the context in which the foreign minister is going, and he's going for a multilateral visit. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a multilateral forum consisting of 8 member nations. A 9th is expected to join this summer, which is Iran. So, Pakistan has always had very good relations with all members of the SCO, except, of course, for India. And it's been very committed to SCO, which has great importance in the eyes of China as well as Russia. So, our participation in this forum is really a reflection of our commitment to SCO, because it has a very important vision for cooperation and connectivity in the region. In politics and in diplomacy, there is no such thing as no return. There's always a possibility for some kind of movement to end the deadlock. But I don't see the foreign minister's visit to Goa to attend SCO in any way contributing to the melting of ice between the two countries. I think on the LOC, the understanding between them has meant that the ceasefire has largely held. Yes, there have been some violations, but it is certainly not the kind that we saw several years ago when these violations also led to large numbers of civilian casualties on the Pakistani side of the LOC. So I think while the environment is not propitious for any melting of the ice between Pakistan and India, our foreign minister will come face to face with the Indian foreign minister. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. No, I think the outlook for Pakistan and India relations remains a very troubled one. It's also marked by great uncertainty. I don't see any forward movement really in any area. In fact, recently has been added to long-standing disputes between the two countries. The Indian threat to alter or amend the Indus Water Treaty of 1960, which has stood the test of time. And in fact, it has survived wars and tensions between the two countries. But now, since January, India has been threatening to amend the treaty. So, we see new problems in the relationship rather than an easing of tensions between the two. So I really don't see either a resumption of any dialogue or a resumption of the peace process or movement in any area, whether that area is a political area, diplomatic area, or it's a cultural trade area. The situation on the ground in occupied Jammu and Kashmir remains very, very serious. As you probably know, India has in the last 2 years carried out far-reaching electoral, demographic, and changes in the law there, which aim to disempower and dispossess Kashmiri Muslims. Now, given that backdrop, it is very hard to see how a movement can be made. And I don't think one should see the foreign minister's visit to attend SCO as reflecting any change in Pakistan's principled position on Jammu and Kashmir. That remains the case. Pakistan continues to insist that India rescind its action of August 2019 to create the right atmosphere for a resumption of dialogue. India, on the other hand, as you've probably seen from statements made by the foreign minister only recently, keeps repeating the mantra of terrorism, terrorism, terrorism. That's all they say. And of course, they have now refused to talk about Kashmir. So, in this environment, it is very hard in Pakistan and India in the relationship. As far as Pakistan's principal position is concerned, Pakistan has always said it's prepared to talk about all issues, but those all issues must include the long-standing dispute over Kashmir. It's never said we will talk only about Kashmir, but it has said and continues to say that unless Kashmir is also part of an agenda for talks between Pakistan and India, it's unable then to initiate any dialogue with India. And on the Indian side too, we have seen no interest whatsoever by the Modi government in reinitiating any kind of diplomatic dialogue with trade is suspended, and there's barely any interaction at a senior level between the two countries. I mean, I think just practical issues are dealt with at a very, junior level. That continues because the high commissions are still functional in both capitals. But beyond that, there is nothing, and I really don't see any forward movement. Well, I think the regional dynamics are very much affected by the defining geopolitical reality today of the world, which is the confrontation between the United States and China. In this confrontation, we've seen the United States choose India as its partner of choice, because it to use India as a counterweight in its policy to contain China. It's a very different after the US withdrawal from Afghanistan. Pakistan's strategic priority is not the United States, it's China. It's certainly not stuck between the two. It's very clear that its strategic future lies with China and not with the United States, even though it wants to have a normal and stable relationship with the United States. So, these alignments are obviously, create an environment which has regional implications. But as far as India-Pakistan is concerned, I think, there are bilateral dynamics which are driving the relationship or the lack of a relationship right now. Yes, it is true that is a stronger partnership with the United States has made it. India was emboldened by its alliance with the United States to take the action that it did in 2019 by illegally occupying, seizing, and bifurcating the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So, it does have an impact. But as far as internal dynamics are concerned, I don't think Pakistan's domestic political dynamics are affecting our relationship or the lack of it with India. But on the Indian side, we see a very strong sort of domestic factor, because Modi has used an anti-Pakistan narrative to win elections. He clearly feels, or his BJP party feels, that bashing Pakistan helps them get votes in India. Now, with the Indian election due in 2024, again, I see that as an additional factor for continuing tensions between India and Pakistan, because India has absolutely no incentive to try to improve its relationship with Pakistan or to keep, tensions at a level where the two countries are at least, managing these tensions.